Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome back. I'm Jeannie and I'm going to be sharing another hidden gem with you today. This is going to be a dip company. So my dips are from Soul Dips and I haven't used her in quite a while, but I absolutely love her dips. I just get sidetracked with other things sometimes, but I'm super excited to do another mani using her dips because I have a ton of them. And this glitter, wait till you see it. It has cat glitters. It's so cute. So I'm going to do a Halloween themed mani. So these are the colors I picked out. They're all older colors, maybe like a year or two old or so. If they're still available, I'll leave them linked down below in the comments. I don't have a discount code. I'm not ambassador or anything like that, but I know she does have affiliate codes floating out there. So if you just check her Facebook group or Instagram, I'm sure you can find one of those codes to use if you do end up buying from her. When I think of Soul Dips, I think of flower dips because she has such a huge variety of flower dips and they're all so gorgeous. And they're not just like flower dips. She's got really great mixtures as well of like flowers with flakies or with glitters. And they're just all so pretty, so many different colors. And they're just really unique. And I also have a bunch of her floral dips because I love them so much. And I almost did a flower dip mani, but I really wanted to do a Halloween mani, and the cat glitters got me because when I bought this glitter, maybe like a year or two ago, I can't remember when it was, I ran out of time, so I didn't get to use it. So I definitely wanted to use it this year because once I saw the swatch and remembered I had it, I was like, oh, it's on. I have to do this. But back to what I'm actually doing, I'm doing my regular dipping process and I'm using my Marullo Nail Co dip liquids because I've still been loving them. And the color I'm starting with is Smarties, and this is going to go on my index finger and pinky. So this one is like a fuchsia purplish type color. It is a glow as well. And I think this one's actually retired, which makes me sad because I love this color. You wouldn't expect with this type of color that it glows, but it glows so bright. And if it tells you anything, this is probably like the third or fourth time I've used this color because I love it so much. And for me to use a color more than like once or twice actually says a lot because I have so many colors that I haven't even used yet. But this one's just so fun and I love that it doesn't stain as well. So I'm going to do 2 full layers of this. So I finished with my first layer. I want to make sure that I'm dusting off the excess powder, and then I'm going to go in with layer 2. I'm not going to do anything additional to Smarties, so I won't do any ombre or anything on top, just because I think the color is so beautiful and kind of stands on its own. So I'm just going to leave them as is and keep them solid. I finished with my 2 dips of Smarties, so now I'm going to move on to my other solid. So this is Have You Come to Sing Pumpkin Carols, and this is a really good pumpkin orange. So I like it for this mani because it's not a bright orange, although I do really love bright oranges, but this is a little bit of a deeper, darker orange, and I think it matches the hex glitters in my glitter really well. But even having said that, I wasn't really sure how this would look with this mani, so I was a little concerned, but I decided to give it a try anyway. That's what peel base is for, right? So if I didn't like it, I just pop it off. But I'm definitely glad I incorporated this color because I knew I didn't want to just use Smarties with the glitter, that I wanted to do something a little bit more and add a little bit more color. So this is going to go on my ring finger and thumb, and I will end up doing like a little bit of a glitter ombre on my ring finger because I wanted to tone down that orange just a little bit more, and I love like how just the really subtle glitter ombre kind of helped tie everything all together. A glitter ombre is probably one of my favorite things to do when I'm doing a mani because I feel like it ties everything together, it fixes any mistakes. I just love the way a glitter ombre looks. That makes me think, do you have like a go-to technique that you always like to do when you do a mani? Drop it down below in the comments. I would love to hear what your go-to is. If I'm not doing a glitter ombre, I also really love to do nail art stamping, and sometimes I like to do water slide decals as well, just because they're so easy and they look like they're more difficult than they actually are. So you may have noticed that Have You Come to Sing Pumpkin Carols, after the first layer wasn't completely opaque, you still saw like a little bit of my nail line. I wouldn't call it sheer, but it's not a like one dip full coverage. So I am going in with layer 2, and then after layer 2 I do get that full opacity. I normally always do 2 dips anyway, so it's not a big deal for me as long as I get that full opacity in my second dip. If I don't get full opacity in the second dip, depending on the thickness of the dip, because some are thinner, some are thicker, I may or may not do a third layer. It just really depends. I mean, I'd say these dips, they're not super thin, but they're not super thick either. I'd say they're just like a regular, like medium type consistency. So I think I would be okay with a third layer if I needed to do it, but I didn't need to with these colors. I'm just kind of trying to give you reference of like the thinness or thickness of the dip powders, and these aren't super thin, they're not super thick either. So I think that makes them easy to work with. Sometimes with the thinner dip powders from like other companies, like I could do 4 layers of dip of the color and it's still super thin, to where if I'm wearing it for a long time, I have to worry about it cracking. So I'll do more than that. And you may or may not have experienced that with some dips. So I just wanted to call that out. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I think it's just a matter of like what you're feeling and what kind of look you're going for. But there is definitely a difference in dip powders and consistencies. Before I move on to my glitter, I want to make sure that I'm capping my solid nails in clear, so I am using my crystal glass from Glam Co. I love it so much. I've got this huge jug of it. So all my fingers except my ring finger, I'm going to go ahead and cap in clear, and I'm not capping my ring finger in clear because that's going to have a glitter ombre on it, so I don't want to create additional layers. So I'm going to wait to cap that in clear until I finish the ombre, because it doesn't really matter if I accidentally contaminate the nail right now with a stray piece of glitter, because it's going to have the glitter from the ombre anyway. I forgot to hit record, but after I finished capping my nails in clear, after they completely dried, I scrubbed off any excess powder using a stiff scrub brush, and then I went ahead and activated those nails. The activator is what's going to prevent the glitters from sticking to my solid nails, reducing any contamination. So now I'm going to move on to my glitter. This is Let's Get Spooky. It is such a cute glitter, and I'm super excited to finally be using it. So it's got fine glitters in there, so it's kind of black and fuchsia fine glitters in there. It also has larger hex glitters that are orange, and I think the orange of the hex glitters really matches Have You Come to Sing Pumpkin Carols really well. So that's the orange that's on my ring finger and thumb. And then it also has the fuchsia kitty glitters, and I think that matches Smarties really well. So I think the colors really go well together. And there was a cat glitter that got a little bit on my nail, so I went ahead and just knocked that off because I don't want them on the first layer. So for the second layer, I dumped the rest of my jar of glitter into my Chaos Gemerld. I'm going to dust off the excess powder of my first layer because I don't want to gunk up my dip base brush. And then for my second layer, I will lay my finger flat into the glitter. And I don't pick up any kitty glitters in this laying down flat either. So I'm going to do a little bit of glitter placement, but I would rather place bigger glitters, like shape glitters like that, rather than dipping them in, then having them stick to my nail, because I kind of want to determine like where I want them to be. So I'm just applying a thin, even layer of dip base to my entire nail. If I missed any spots in my first layer, I want to make sure that I'm getting it with my second layer. So I'm just being a little more careful, a little slower, making sure I've got my entire nail covered. And then I'm going to lay my finger into the glitter to pick up more of those chunkier pieces. So I want some of those orange hex glitters. I don't want any of the cats, but you can see it's really good coverage with that second layer. So I'm just going to kind of press down, make sure everything's flat. I'll kind of tuck in any glitters that are kind of like sticking half on, half off my nail, just to make sure I'm cleaning it up. And of course, taking my precision tool, cleaning up around my cuticle area and sidewalls, making sure I don't have any excess product on my skin. Now I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of glitter placement, and I'm not sure at this point where I want to place the glitters yet, but I know I want to do some kitty glitters, and I also want to do some of those orange hex glitters because I want more of those. So because I'm not sure, I'm just going to go ahead and apply dip base to my entire nail. And then once I have that dip base down, I'm dipping my precision tool into that wet dip base. And then I'm picking up individual pieces of glitter and then kind of randomly placing them around my nail wherever I feel like I want a little bit more color. And I'm doing this real time, so as you can see, I have plenty of time to place the glitters I want without having to apply more dip base. So it's a really good drying time. Like, I don't feel too rushed. After I finish placing the glitters on my middle finger, I'm going to work on the ombre on my ring finger, and I'm just going to go ahead and apply dip base to my entire nail, and that way it makes it a little more even. So I'm dipping my eyeshadow brush into the glitter, my fingers pointed a little downwards, and then I'm tapping a little above my cuticle area onto my skin, and then I will slowly start tapping over my nail. And I want this to be a really subtle ombre. I don't want a whole lot of glitter because there is a lot of contrast between like the orange and the black glitters, because I think it could look really murky and messy really quickly. So I just want a little bit of that glitter. I capped my nails in clear off camera, and now I left this in because I want to show you what I do for the chunkier glitters. So the Marullo Nail Co activator works super quickly. So as soon as I finish activating, I take the baggie and I start pressing down to make sure those glitters are laying flat. So as the activator is drying, the glitters are drying in flat, like because you're pressing down, they're drying in that shape that you're pressing. So that really helps with chunky glitters. I use this all the time when I'm working with chunkier glitters or anything that sticks up. I swear it's a total game changer. I went ahead and filed and buffed off camera, so here's how the mani's looking, super quick and easy, and because I did that activator baggie trick, I didn't file through any of those glitters. So now we're going to get into my favorite part, which of course is the dip top coat. So in order for your top coat to dry, it does need a final layer of activator, so I'm going to apply one layer of activator to all my nails, and then I'm going to wait a full 2 minutes for it to fully dry before I go in with my top coat. I'm guessing that I could probably start with my dip top coat sooner than 2 minutes, just because with this dip liquid set, the activator just works so quickly. But I figure why risk it, because I've done the 2 minutes and it works perfectly fine. It's super shiny. So I decided to just leave it as is. So after the 2 minutes have passed, I went ahead and started with my first layer of dip top coat. I'm applying it in 2 to 3 swipes on each nail. I'm making sure to wipe my brush on that paper towel in between each nail just to remove any of that excess activator. And then after I'm done with my 5th nail, the first layer is dry. It starts looking a little dull and wrinkly, and that's when I know I'm ready to go in with my 2nd layer of dip top coat. So for my 2nd layer, I'm kind of taking my time, making sure I have my entire nail covered, and I also want to make sure that I'm capping my free edge. As always, I'm going to finish off my mani by rehydrating my cuticles with my Skills of Mermaid Cuticle Oil. And I'm super excited to share this upcoming new release. This is Hot Babe Autumn, and how stinking adorable is this label. So this gorgeous thing is releasing on Sunday, September 29th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure to set your alarms, and as always, you can use my ambassador code Jeannie10 to save 10% off your orders. And Pat's changed it up to where now limited edition scents are now available for 30 days after they're released, so they're not going to sell out on you. But I definitely recommend you pick up this scent. So she's got the scent profile as tart with a hint of floral, fruity, and deep. And I think that's a really good way to describe it, because I have a hard time describing this scent because it is a little bit fruity, but it's not like a fresh summery fruity scent. It's a little bit of like a deeper fruity type scent. I kind of smell that tartness. It's just really good if you like those types of scents. So anyway, that pretty much wraps up today's video. Let me know down below in the comments if you've tried Soul Dips before or if you plan to. She's a really great small business that I really recommend. So I hope this video is helpful. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a thumbs up. It lets me know to continue creating content like this, and it also helps YouTube recommend me to others, which helps grow my channel. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I upload content every Monday and Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.